Today's video is all about Neoxa Network Blockchain, a new way of play-to-earn gaming. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive into this project, looking at the value proposition, the team, and the overall tokenomics, and if we should be scaling into this project for the up-and-coming bull run. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about crypto and currency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. But today, guys, is Neoxa. It definitely could be a real opportunity for the up-and-coming bull run. Very small projects, small market cap, and could definitely do some really good gains throughout this up-and-coming bull run, given the fact that the value proposition is quite interesting. All right, guys, we're going to be doing this deep dive. We're going to be using the website as our main platform to navigate the project. We're hoping that the website can give us everything that we need. At the same time, we are going to be critiquing this website as the main portal of the type of information that we look for these deep dives. Okay, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. Landing page is looking pretty cool, pretty interesting, lots of good color and graphics and so on. We have a download a wallet, so you can download a native wallet, proof of work, play to earn, smart nodes, gaming portal, and marketplace. So just a general idea of what they offer here as, you know, as a network, let's say. So proof of work, very interesting narrative that is coming back, of course, and a lot of individuals are thinking of, you know, proof of work, very traditional Bitcoin style, you know, consensus, which is, you know, tried and basically very, let's call it dependable. And for a lot of us, that's all we really want, is a very dependable blockchain, right? Something that's been you know, put through the ringer. And proof of work consensus is definitely that. Play to earn, hot narrative, guys. Smart nodes, of course, if you want to get active on the network, that is an option. And then the gaming portal and, again, marketplace. But the gaming portal and the marketplace have a lot to do with its value proposition. So we'll kind of look at that. We have some blockchain stats, you know, hash rate, difficulty, circulating supply. 21 billion units is going to be the max supply, and 4 billion are already in circulation. So there's a portion of them out there, not a drastic amount, but still there's some in circulation. Smart nodes active, locked supply. So basically what this translates into, basically, in order for you to have a smart node, you need to have 1 million Neoxa tokens, and in that case, that's how they'll get locked up, because in order for you to be a node, you need to have those tokens locked. So they have about 55% of the current circulating supply, or the total supply for that matter, is locked up. So that's pretty good. At least you have a sense of scarcity in this case. It's not really a supply that is that liquid. It is locked up into the node. So pretty good. Asset count, okay. Total burning mechanism, guys. It's a unique one. Essentially, with the burning mechanism, we can talk about this in a little bit more detail as we keep on going through the deep dive. But burning mechanism basically is every Neox token or coin that gets used in the marketplace gets burned. So the marketplace basically burns pretty much everything. Like you can see, marketplace burn, the total burn. They have other burn that they probably have done in the past. But right now, the marketplace has completely committed itself to burning everything, all the coins that run through the marketplace, which makes it deflationary. Okay, so not only do you get some of these tokens locked up, removing liquidity from the market, and of course a sense of total supply gets locked up, but also the marketplace burns where coins get completely removed from the ecosystem, which means ultimately this is a deflationary chain. Really necessary, of course, if you want to see some of these 21 billion units get, you know, you want to eventually have a supply shock, right? You want a bit of a supply shock over time so that you can increase the price. That will ultimately increase price. So good stuff there. Pioneering blockchain and cryptocurrency project. Okay, guys, this is where the magic happens here. There's a white paper, of course. It's a quite simple one. I kind of like that. I would have appreciated a little bit more graphics and, type of thing, like maybe some charts or graphs or something like that. But there isn't really. But we'll talk about that in a second. I just opened it up in a new tab, so we'll go back to that. Exchanges, Mexi, CoinX, XT.com, Trade. So reality is you only have real Mexi, if even you want to consider that a larger exchange. It's not even the largest. It's up and coming, no doubt. A lot of low cap altcoins are listed on Mexi, is getting a reputation for itself. But generally speaking here, the outlets of which you could buy this token are very limited, as can be seen. Okay, so very small exchanges, CoinX, very small as well, and Mexi being one of those that could be considered up and coming, but relatively speaking, low volume exchange as well. A good frequently asked questions, let's say, area where you can get some of the ideas, some of the concepts, proof of work. This right here, network security relies on a robust proof of work POW system, allocating 45% to rewards. We're going to get into the token distribution in a second because I have more detail than that. It's just 45% here. That's all it really talks about. But really, it resembles Bitcoin's overall proof of work consensus mechanism. So that's a good thing. We know that Bitcoin has been working, and that technology, Kapao, is basically a very, very basically trustworthy. So, Neoxa boasts a distinctive play to earn. This is where things get, again, important. Basically, what Neoxa does is it gets traditional Web 2 gaming. Okay, and we're going to look at some of their offerings in a second, and it turns them into a play to earn. And that is very important, very interesting that we can have that bridge from, Web 2, any games that you play online right now, you can eventually earn off of those games as well. So you don't have to have unique games. They don't have to reinvent their own games. They just have to find a way to tap into the API of an existing game and be able to find ways to make a ecosystem out of it, which, guys, so far they have, I think, 4 games under their belt, which is really, really good to see a proof of concept that this can actually be, a use case here for this project and ultimately the token, the utility for the token. So this is interesting, guys. Instead of waiting for some of these Web3 studios creating their own games, essentially what you want to play GTA 5, no problem, you play GTA 5, but you can basically play as well as earn Neoxa tokens or Neox tokens while you're playing GTA. So that for me is the biggest value proposition for adoption. There's very little, red tape or resistance to get new players into an ecosystem where they're already playing the game. Basically, they're already playing these favorites that already exist, and all they have to do is sign up for this opportunity, right? So that's not bad of a scenario. Then again, if you want to get into becoming a smart node holder or contribute to the network that way, basically you have to meet a 1 million Neox collateral requirement. That's where those tokens get locked up, and then you can make passive income, and so on and so forth. So that is definitely an option. Gaming and streaming. So far, they only have the gaming aspect. The streaming is in their roadmap. It is something that they are looking forward to introduce streaming capabilities, and of course, being able to earn off of the streaming. And this is why, one of the reasons why they want the smart nodes, to ensure that there's speed and all of that kind of stuff. So pretty good thinking. I think the overall value proposition here, coupling up with gaming and streaming, we know that those two are a match. So I like the way they're thinking, and ultimately where their value proposition ends, because right now it's about 50% there with the gaming. The other half, in my opinion, is the streaming gaming platform. So again, it's just about taking games that already exist, that already have a reputation, that already have a consumer or client base, and then integrate it into their own ecosystem. Okay, so this is an important thing. And what I really do appreciate with Neoxa's team is that they didn't start naming some of the big companies that created those games as partners. They made it real that they are just integrating them into their own ecosystem And it's not necessarily a partnership. There's no commitment from GTA 5 or the other games, or Fortnite. There's no commitment with those developers. All they are doing is working with the existing API and the existing game and trying to integrate it into their platform. That is an interesting value proposition. For me, that's the biggest focus of this deep dive, is because I don't see or I've heard any gaming project so far that is trying to do that. And this is going to be a major competitor to those gaming platforms, those studios that are creating their games from scratch and trying to build a consumer base from scratch. Guys, that's interesting. Okay, so we continue going down the marketplace. It's still kind of in the works. They can purchase in-game items and other, NFTs and so on. And of course, every Neox coin that is spent in the marketplace gets permanently removed from the supply, and that's their burning mechanism. So guys, that's really, really bullish. That's interesting, again, to see the tokens kind of deplete over time, giving a bit of a supply shock, therefore increasing the price to the upside. So that is a good tokenomic right there. More about tokenomics: 21 billion coins, 4-year halving cycle. So every 4 years, we're going to see more tokens enter circulation, in the sense very similar to what Bitcoin does. And over time, as time passes, less and less tokens get entering the circulation. And then ultimately, coupled with the burning mechanism, we're going to see a deflationary aspect to it, because ultimately, the 21 billion tokens have to have that utility. But as it gets popular over time as well, more people are going to want more tokens. The demand is going to go up, and if the supply comes down again, those tokenomics are solid. Now, we do have a bit of the token distribution, and there's missing one aspect here. I don't know if it's strategic or not. I wish they would have just added an extra line, because they have 45% for block rewards, so that's basically miners, because it is a proof of work. And then they have 45% for the smart nodes, which again allows for consensus and speed. The more nodes they have, the more speedy it will be to actually get the network moving, right? And then they have play to earn. So the actual earning opportunity is only 5%. And then there's another 5% allocated to marketing and things like that. So we'll look at that in more detail again, because I have it on a separate page. But one thing that I don't want to kind of sidestep here is that last point: play to earn only encompassing 5%. Right now, the team is very clear about that. They are aware that it's very little. So newcomers to the space that want to get involved might say, look, that's only 5%. I'm only able to earn 5%, of the tokens, and those will be distributed to all the gamers out there. Now, they have a plan to allow individuals, gamers, to monetize in a different way, other than this 5% rewards. It's not going to be based on rewards. It's going to be based on performance. And again, that mechanism has yet to really be established. So I'm waiting to see exactly what kind of rewards or kind of monetization policy they go forward. Obviously, it has to be decentralized, and it's got to be something that is governed in a very decentralized way, in a fair way. But ultimately, so far, so good. The future looks very bright still. Mining algorithm, of course, the Kapow is vital to the ecosystem, resembling Bitcoin, something that, they hold pride in, because then you don't rely on a ASIC mining rig. You just use a basic graphics card. And again, barriers to entry here for those of us that have graphics cards or don't want to spend a lot of money on an ASIC. You can just grab a graphics card and start mining right away. So that was one of the strategic planning from the team, which in my opinion, for mass adoption and the age group that might be interested in gaming, as GTA 5 and Fortnite, they don't have a lot of disposable income that could necessarily go to mining. So being able to mine using a graphics card, bonus obviously on my end. Let's continue. Some assets that are listed, that will be listed on the exchange or on the marketplace. Meet Oncey or Oncey itself doesn't possess any intrinsic value. It's just a JPEG. Guys, I don't know, but it's definitely part of the NFT culture. The burning we already talked about, so there's no point in going there. And then the games, finally the games, guys. Rust, it's a shooter. GTA 5, roleplay. Dot 2, and then you have Cheater. Fortnite, of course, guys. The shooter Fortnite is one of the hottest releases from their ecosystem. I think it was released this week, so it's really, really popular. Obviously, one of the most popular games. And being able to play these games particularly in this case, let's speak about Fortnite, while earning, is a totally different gamification of crypto. Now we can get traditional games that have already existed by other mainstream, gaming platforms, and just basically integrate it into a Web3 ecosystem that has tokenomics. So really good value proposition, and the marketing in this case is a lot easier for a Neoxa because Fortnite doesn't need much marketing. Every gamer pretty much knows Fortnite and GTA 5, and of course perhaps even the other ones depending on your involvement in gaming. So this is where we're at. I'm anticipating that their catalog is going to get expanded. They had what's it called? They had other games in the past, and I'm not sure where they went, but nonetheless, I think that their overall catalog should be expanding very soon if they want to keep this project hot. So far, so good. Fortnite this week. Let's see what happens in the next few weeks as the bull run continues. That's when they need to really get this thing going full force to make some real good hype. Now, of course, if you want to get in touch with the team, guys, it's not very easy in the sense that, okay, let's be real. It's a bit easy because you can get on the Discord, you can get on a lot of the socials. I'm sure there's going to be a representative of the team. But the reality is, the doxness of the team is not there. And that's one of the aspects that kind of concern me. Now, if you go on their Discord and you search their Discord and search doxed or team doxed or anything like that, you can see that there was a bit of resistance with, getting some of the developers behind the team or even the founder behind the team to get known and, present themselves to the community. Which, guys, we understand that being doxed is a big commitment from a project or in this case, a founder. But nonetheless, as we go forward in Web3, we are self-regulating. We are self-regulating in the sense that we as a community want to see, despite how fair the launch is, because it seems to be a very fair launch here because of the token distribution. But nonetheless, we still want to know who's behind the team. We want to know who's making some of the decisions. We want to know who's the developer, what background they have. It gives us a sense of how much risk we want to take. If the team is solid, if the team has history, if the team comes from a great gaming background, a great Web3 background, and so on and so forth, we will definitely feel more comfortable, more convicted to take a bit more risk. And this is how we assess projects, all based on risk profile. So right now, that gives me a bit of an indication that, I got to be a little bit careful. However, guys, the founder, I believe his name is Andy. Again, he is on a lot of YouTube videos where he does AMAs, interviews and so on. So feel free to get, search around. You'll find a lot of information with regards to what he thinks and the team, the overall project and so on. He's very transparent that way. But again, we don't know much about him and the rest of the team. So as you notice, there's no section here for the team. On the white paper, there is no team. There's no LinkedIn. There's none of that. So could we say that they're doxed? I would say somewhat, maybe the founder somewhat doxed, but I would have liked a little bit more transparency with regards to the team. Okay, so not fully convicted there with regards to that transparency, but I understand a lot of people want their privacy, but this is Web3, guys. There's no real level for uncertainty, and we want complete transparency. All right, so let's move on. We have a few sections down here that we can cover. That completes that website. So we have home, a blog, which is there, but nothing really happening. The Discord, if you're interested in the Explorer, which we'll look at in a second to take a look at some of the wallets. There's a faucet if you want to get some tokens. I'm assuming that's usually what it's for. If you want to get a few tokens to transact with, you can get a few for free usually. Smart nodes, again, if you want to be a smart node, be a part of the network, they teach you how to set it up and so on, and apparently it's very, very easy. I have a member of my Discord that definitely has a smart node, so if you want to come on there and pick his brain, feel free. He's loving it so far. Games looking pretty good. The small catalog that they already have is definitely on point. Now we got to just make it clear that there is no commitment that those games are going to be long lasting or standing here, because they do not have a partnership with those games. They're just integrating those games into their value proposition. That's all it is. So they don't own the games. They don't have any rights to the game or anything like that. They're just using the game within their ecosystem, their tokenomic ecosystem. ecosystem. Okay, so let's be real with that. Gaming portal, okay, if you want to get in on that and see what's going on with the gaming, and contact and white paper exchanges, we talked about a little bit. External links, mining pools, wallet download, coin market cap, CoinGecko, socials, and partners, Flux. Okay, guys, that's worth it. Let me open this up in a new tab, and we covered all the links, pretty much all the ones that are really necessary here for us to just get a bit of an idea about, again, what this project is about. Okay, so let's jump right into the white papers, as we are very technical still, trying to make sense of some of this. You can see that there's a nice introduction, a little bit of what's going on with the market, communities and stats and so on. They're building the framework as to maybe the value proposition. So really good. Well, it looks well written, but again, I would have liked a little bit more graphs and things like that, especially once you get into the token distribution and things like that. Liquidity challenges, of course, the blockchain itself, some facts about that. Coin burning mechanisms, the Kapow algorithm, smart nodes. We talked about all of this. Of course, if you want to get involved, marketplace, security and privacy, usability, that's a utility, and I will go over that with you guys in a little bit more detail in a second. But yeah, no doubt there is some good utility. Utilities, avid gamers, blockchain game rewarding mechanism. You can see supported games. There's a few here. I'm wondering if this is up to date. Play to earn opportunity. Again, the value proposition is about that. And then the conclusion. Not really much happening. And this is the extent of their roadmap. So nothing really concrete with their roadmap. I didn't see a clear roadmap. You could probably get one on social somewhere, or some sort of idea of what they're doing next. But guys, we need transparent, clear roadmaps with some dates would be nice, or at least some, terms as to where they plan on accomplishing some of these tasks, just for accountability. Doesn't have to be down to the day or the, just the year, maybe the time of the year, like first quarter, second quarter, first half of the year, or something to give us a bit of an idea of the priorities of the team, of where they're going to be going in the next little while. Okay, especially that this is a small project, we want at least an idea of where they're putting their efforts, right? So this is important. Roadmap, not knowing the team to the full extent gives me a bit of ambiguity, and we need to have this really clear. So my suggestion is that the team of Neoxa really think about the priority here, and it is the priority giving token holders, investors, whatever you want to call it, the stakeholders that are part of Neoxa, some of that transparency and confidence, right? That's really what it's all about. Documentation, there's a bit here about the smart nodes. This is all about smart nodes and mining, a lot of that. Play to earn, a bit of details here. Again, not much, but you got the servers, you got, getting started with Rust. Again, if you want to get involved in that, GTA, again, a little bit gaming, frequently asked questions. There's a bit of technicals, but other than that, that's about it. What is Neox? Again, this is that in the white papers, abstract, nothing more than that. Okay, guys, so the white papers, although it is pretty cool, it's not enough. You got some info, but I would like some graphics or some more about the token distribution and charts and things like that really kind of make things a little bit more clear. Okay, Flux, that it was a partner. So again, back to the website, I'm very happy that in the section where they have their partners, I don't even know where it is right now, let me see if I can quickly find that, they don't have a bunch of logos, which kind of lately has been bothering me. I don't even know where I saw that. I know they have Flux as a partner, and we saw that a second ago. It's somewhere around here. Sorry guys for giving you right here, partner Flux. Usually when they talk about partners, they start integrating CoinGecko, coin market cap, the chain that they don't have a chain. This is a custom chain, of course, it's their own blockchain. So this for me means that at least they're honest about the relationships that they have. It's one thing to have a relationship with an existing company, even if it's Web3, but another is if they're partnered up. Now, I don't know the extent of the partnership. Again, I would have liked a little bit more detail with the extent extent of the partnership with Flux. I really couldn't find much information, but the fact that they put it there and only them, it kind of at least gives me some the possibility that this is a very strategic partnership. Now, why would it be strategic? Well, it's actually has a very normal and useful use case for that matter. Build on Web3 today. It's basically a Flux cloud. So given that it is a gaming project and, you know, it's Web3, it would be ideal to see, you know, Neoxa basically couple up with a company that specializes in cloud-based file storage or data management, data storage. And in this case, Flux is definitely the team or the project to kind of, you know, partner up with. So, you know, that's a good choice. That's very strategic. It's not just some random project that has nothing to do with it. And it's definitely pretty decent, right? So trusted by the partners. What kind of partners? Again, be careful here with what you see here. I don't know what kind of partners NVIDIA. Are they really partnered up with NVIDIA, or is NVIDIA using them and that's the extent of their partnership? And that's not a strategic partnership. That's a relationship. That's a customer or something else, but it's not a partner. A partner needs to have you know, a relationship where they're dependent on one another for success. And I don't think NVIDIA really cares if Flux you know, is successful or not. And you got to kind of think about it like that. What's the actual relationship? Do they have stakes on both ends, right? Type of thing. So pretty good overall. It looks interesting as a cloud. They definitely have competitors, but Flux, their value proposition in this case is the cost. And that's really, really what we all kind of want to see, especially with Web3, giving us the opportunity to achieve the same, if not better, technologies at a cheaper price with faster, better performance. So that's about it. Flux, pretty good. I like the partnership there. It's very strategic, and I think that it's well worth talking about. All right, let's look into their block explorer here for a second. This is a good one, of course. We want to see where the tokens are all at, like who are the holders and so on. And what I want to look at, the difficulty in the last little while has been coming down. The hash rate is coming down. Things are cooling off a little bit in the last little while. Okay, that's fine. But what I want to look at is this top 100. You start looking at all the wallets and you look at, let's say, even the top 25. The top 25 have 13% of the wealth distribution. So 13%, 13.3% of the tokens are held by the top 25. That is a lot. That is pretty okay. Like I'm not too worried about this being a rug pull or anything like that. Okay, so and then you start looking at the top 20, top 50, 2%. It drastically gets spread across many token holders, many bags, and for me that's a good one, right? So I appreciate that. So going forward, now that we see that the wallets are well decentralized, this is basically, in essence, giving you a sense of the decentralization of the token holders, right? This is something important. And then you have some exchanges, burn address, if you want to go look into that. And there's probably a few more maybe going around, but you can see that these are the major wallets at the top here, at the top 100. Top received coins, pretty good. Okay, so no real red flags at all at this current moment. So let's continue. We could see that ultimately, let's go see some of this tokenomics. We could see that generally speaking, Neoxa, the price has been very fluctuant. It has been going up and down frequently, a lot lately. Obviously, low cap market cap, meaning $26 million market cap, means that the price is going to fluctuate significantly. It is going to go up and down, and that's totally fine. That's what we want as traders. We want fluctuation, and we want to be able to, you know, ride the peaks and the valleys of the price. But we also have to understand that we may need to endure a bit of a dip when it does happen, and, you know, obviously be quick on thinking about profit taking if it runs, because we'll definitely get that volatility. But for a long-term position, guys, Neoxa could be a really good gainer, right? Given the fact that it is low cap, 26 million, has a lot of opportunity for growth. The circulating supply right now is 4 billion tokens. The total supply, I don't know if this is completely accurate, but this would assume that the total is already maxed out. And I think on CoinMarketCap, it's a bit different. But nonetheless, I don't really focus on the total supply because, of course, it has its halving and it's going to distribute the tokens over time. As each halving, we get more total supply entering the market. That's totally fine. What I'm going to emphasize more is on the max supply. and on the fact that, you know, we still have a lot more still to be released. So we'll talk about percentages and details as to how much still and so on. The volume is a bit low of trading volume, and we'll talk about that. I like a hefty amount of trading volume just to give me a sense of liquidity, and of course that is directly related to which exchanges it's listed on, because if it's listed on very small exchanges, the reality is the volume is not going to be there. So for me, that's problematic. The fully diluted valuations, 137 million dollars, which is a little bit high in my opinion at its current state. I would like to see it a little bit lower, but it's a hot project. It's a hot idea. The value proposition with regards to its tech is definitely there. So it could be just the fact is that it's overvalued because it has a lot of value and people are hyped up about it because the value proposition is definitely evident. So this is the chance you take. A hot project could eventually remain hot and stay hot until it becomes, you know, the market cap increases to the point that it becomes a little bit mature. So we'll talk about the overall expectation and so on and so forth very soon, but generally speaking, the tokenomics are as such. All right, so pretty good. The overall price, we'll talk about that in a second. All right, guys, so I do release a infographic talking about a lot of my the details and the overall rating that I give this project. And of course, I'm going to make this available on the Discord, on the social. So feel free to join and, you know, subscribe and follow and so on so that you can get your own copy and you can kind of read this over. But generally speaking here, we can see that the ecosystem, if we want to call it an ecosystem, it is growing, which is a good thing. Now, I just want to be, you know, clear that the fact is that Rust, GTA 5.2, Fortnite, it's not necessarily part of its ecosystem. Okay, in the sense that they have their own ecosystems, they're separate from Neoxa, but they use these games or they support these games. However, this is a strong move because the ecosystem that they do have, which is the play to earn, is growing based on these titles, right? So this is a strong list to start off with, and given that their ecosystem, because it supports these games, it is strong. So I'll give it 10 out of 10 right there. Very high utility value, of course, given the fact that the token can be used for rewards, a marketplace currency, burning mechanism based on the sales of the marketplace. Every coin that gets spent in the marketplace gets burnt, and then staking for smart nodes. So that's of course something that reduces the circulating supply or the liquidity in the market. Again, almost acting like a supply shock, taking tokens off the market. Because again, if you want to be a smart node provider, you have to be staking 1 million tokens or coins in this case. So that's something that you got to understand with regards to the supply and demand aspect. So pretty good. What else do we have here? The roadmap, not really clear, but it is there. And I do like the fact that they tackle very important things. And I don't give a lot of emphasis on roadmaps because lately the roadmap, you know, a lot of developers don't want to put timelines, because if they don't meet the timeline absolutely perfectly, the price starts to fluctuate crazy, like with a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And then as soon as that FUD hits the market, the price starts to go very volatile and the wild west, you know. So really, I understand why they don't want to put specific dates, but at least a little bit of a year or time frame within the year, you know, defined by, you know, first half or first quarter, second quarter. You get my point. And ultimately, that would give a bit of accountability to the team and transparency for those token holders or stakeholders into the network. So I give it an 8 out of 10, but what they're focusing on, what they do talk about is bullish. Expand game library, of course, that's a given. It's a must. Streaming, a necessity. I think it couples and marries up very well with the gaming narrative, of course, and game server hosting. An exchange, so being able to exchange, maybe not necessarily exactly how a marketplace would work, but maybe some sort of bridge or something like that. So I would like to see what they really come up with when they refer to as an exchange. In-game monetization, again, what I mentioned about that 5% distribution is very limited. I get it, but they have plans to allow the gamers to monetize within the game somehow. I would like to see that progress and see where that goes, because that will definitely give a little bit more hype into their project, given that gamers, earning is obviously a really strong incentive. And they want to develop an SDK, so some sort of development package for programmers. So I'm wondering what that will look like and what the details are with regards to that. And of course, this project is still in a very infant state, which means there's a lot of room to grow and a lot of development still to happen. So 8 out of 10 right there. Sorry guys, let me get right back into here. The team ultimately, I give it a 4 out of 10. Now, the founder, I think his name is Andy, is somewhat doxed. Okay, we don't know much about him, and obviously he values his privacy, and I respect that and I understand that. But again, when you're looking for people to become stakeholders into an ecosystem, a bit of transparency needs to be there. A little bit of a resume, let's say. What background do you have? Where, type of thing. What's your tech background, marketing background, gaming background? Anything, give us a little bit more. And I couldn't really find anything like that on the website, and for me that's a very important thing. And the rest of the team, who are the key developers, what experience do they have, who is the architect behind the blockchain, like any experience there. I would like to know all of these factors, and I'm not sure if we're given enough information to reduce risk. It's all about risk profile, and when I do deep dives, I keep in mind the risk profile. If there are risky aspects behind the project, it gives me an indication of how much exposure I want to this asset. So the team, the roadmap right now is one of those areas where I would like a little bit more transparency. And if you kind of see the theme here, it has a lot to do with accountability, right? So we got to keep in mind that the accountability aspect currently is a little lacking. So it needs a bit of more transparency and improvement here. The socials, decent. They got 16K followers on X, which, it's up and coming and it's small, so we can't expect them to, be that, large, but so far so good. At least their stats are up. Their followers are increasing 500% up from the last 30 days in comparison to the last 30 days. And they posted 28 posts in comparison to the last 30 days. The previous 30 days, they're also up 87%. So they're seeing a bit of engagement and growth in their X, and we know how important, X is for crypto. So that's a positive sign. Their Discord was decent. I went on there to ask a couple of questions, and they were there, very helpful. No resistance or arrogance there. Usually, sometimes you get a bit of, some personalities that are not the greatest, but these guys were great, ready to answer all my questions. So good stuff. Then the tokenomics, a bit more here. Mining rewards, we talked about the rewards for burning, and then the play to earn, which is about 5%, and then the development fund, which is another 5%. So again, we talked about the play to earn being very small. Again, they're gonna introduce other ways for monetization, and then the development fund, which obviously includes using this a bit of liquidity to infuse into the project itself to help it grow, whether it be marketing or, whatever the case may be. It's only a small portion, very appropriate amount. It's not a huge amount that is going to be allocated to this development fund. So not really that concerning. Okay, so partnerships, I like the fact that they didn't have a bunch of partnerships, but I would like to know more. How are they being partnered up? How is that relationship? How important is that relationship, and so on. So the fact that it's a cloud-based infrastructure, bullish, highly necessary for a gaming platform, I guess, to get their games and data hosted on the cloud as a Web3 ecosystem. But again, the details, guys, about how and why and what's the relationship like. And it's a good opportunity for both projects, in this case, both Flux and Neox, to really go out there and explain the relationship so they can scaffold each other to the next level. So good stuff, but could be improved with some transparency. And then exchanges, guys, take this as a positive or a negative. MEXC, CoinX, and very small, some other small exchanges. I gave it a 3 out of 10, given the fact that, we were only really relying on MEXC here for the liquidity, and that's not the most, right? We got to understand it's a small exchange as well. And the positive aspect is that if it does get listed on a bigger exchange, stepping onto, let's say, a KuCoin, and then moving on to others like maybe even Binance and so on and so forth. Things start to improve, and we start to see more volume and hype and interest. And we know what happens when small projects get listed on big exchanges. Volume, price, everything just starts to run. So looking pretty good so far, and you can look at this as both an opportunity and potentially a threat. But either way, just be careful. Understand that liquidity gives you the ability to buy and sell. If there's not enough liquidity on the market, let's say you're in some massive gains, how are you going to sell it if there's not enough volume out there? And if you're relying on MEXC, the question is how much volume does MEXC have to support your, take profit, let's say in this case. All right, let's kind of move on from that. That's my overall rundown. The coin info, just quick, as I was doing the deep dive, the price did fluctuate a little bit, but, still the price of a Neox project token coin is at about 0.006. So it's very, very small, but don't be fixed on the price, guys. The price doesn't matter. Look at the market cap. Look at the fact that it's a very small market cap. We're talking about micro cap altcoin here, about $24 million. That's all about it. And then you have their trading volume, which is only about 3%. I would like a little bit more, but again, I explained that it's all because that it's not listed on bigger exchanges or more exchanges. So we want a bit more volume. And then the overall supply, the current supply, circulating supply, is only 19% of the total supply, which means over time, as the halvings occur, you're going to see more tokens get into distribution. And as the minings occur, more tokens entering distribution. Okay, let's put it this way. As the rewards get distributed, more tokens entering distribution. So for me, this is something that's important to see a healthy, slow release of supply into the market, and that way there's no dilution of the price over time, or a very little, where we can see that the utility of the token absorbs all the supply that enters the market. That's basically what you want to see: a healthy project with a healthy ecosystem with some very healthy utility, and that way the supply just continues to get absorbed as more tokens, coins enter the marketplace. Max supply again is 21 billion, and the fully diluted is 130 million. Might be slightly overvalued in my book, but nonetheless, it is a hot topic. I think it's a great idea, and maybe it's just an indication of how hot this idea could be. And who knows, maybe it comes down, maybe it doesn't. But nonetheless, guys, this is where we're at with Neox. All right, let's do a little rundown of my overall verdict. The verdict is, for me, it's part of the gaming narrative. Of course, the gaming narrative is a hot one. We play to earn narrative, all of that stuff. A lot of people are really, really hyped up for it. So for me, that's a very unique idea, is to, or the value proposition is to bring play to earn gaming into Web3 games. Games that already exist, games that already have a track record, a following. And in that case, it's a lot easier to see that adoption, and a lot easier to see individuals entering the Web3 space. So for me, this is good. Less friction, less issues, and very enticing to see GTA 5 and other games like Fortnite being hosted and offered as part of their offering. So for me, this is great, and definitely part of the hottest narrative. Proprietary blockchain, the Neoxa blockchain. Of course, custom blockchains are great because they're tailored and engineered for their actual use case. So I'm happy to see where that goes. And the burning mechanism permanently removes all coins used within the marketplace, and then from max supply, ultimately reducing the supply and creating a bit of a supply shock over time. Mining doesn't require an ASIC, which reduces all the red tape and barriers to entry for newcomers that want to get involved. And of course, using the Kapow algorithm is definitely part of that, because you can use a regular graphics card to mine tokens. So good stuff there. Proof of work consensus, the one that Bitcoin uses. It's been tried and tested, and we're definitely confident with that POW. So pretty good. Utilizes a 4-year halving cycle like Bitcoin, and it generates a new block every 60 seconds, and it's fast and efficient. Operating smart nodes is user friendly and requires 1 million Neox as collateral, locking those up essentially as a node holder. You're locking them up, so technically creating a supply shock as well. So obviously, supply and demand affecting price, right? Founder could be a little bit more docs and a bit more transparent about his background. Obviously, obviously giving us a sense of confidence. He does put his privacy as priority, fine, and he's definitely on the YouTube and doing a lot of interviews and that kind of stuff, but the rest of the team is unknown and not doxed, and it would be nice to know the team of developers and their background and so on, just to be very consistent and transparent. X is good, Discord is great, ask questions, very transparent and open, and so on and so forth. Go check them out on Discord. I think it's a great community. Website is good, but can offer a bit more information. Again, some information is just withheld in general, has nothing to do with the website. I'm hoping they come around and find a way to integrate who they are and the roadmap in a very clear and transparent way. And the website needs to be updated with those facts in order to provide a healthier risk profile here. Okay, so my verdict. What do I expect from Neox? Neox market cap is very low, $24 million market cap. Let's say, from a positive perspective, it hits $1 billion market cap. Okay, and I'm being very modest here because ultimately, right now, if you look at the $1 billion zone in the current, marketplace, we have some established, matured altcoins, right? Now, there's no real gaming project that has completely dominated the space. Gala, perhaps, but the value proposition is significantly different here. Gala is a studio that creates their own games. Miria is another one. Games for a Living is another one, and the list goes on. However, Neoxa doesn't really make its own games for that matter. I don't see that part of their framework. Their framework is to introduce games that already exist and integrate them into their ecosystem and allow play to earn gaming on those existing games. Which for me, it makes it a lot easier to grow a network, to grow a ecosystem, because no gaming development is really necessary here. But what about if the overall crypto market, obviously, it goes above its current total market cap, above the 3 trillion, goes to 5 trillion. I think $1 billion market cap is still, within range. It's still very possible, right? And that would give you a 50x. So I know this might be a little bit, $1 billion is quite a bit. I get it. But the reality is, if the project is hot, the narrative is hot, gaming right now is the biggest topic, and the bull run is around the corner. The total market cap goes from 3 trillion to 5 trillion, modestly speaking. What do you expect from Neoxa? It's going to do well. It's going to potentially do a nice 50x and maybe even more. So I'm not going to go give you a 100x prediction. That's not what I do here on the channel. In fact, what I do offer here is transparency and education so you can make your own predictions. But I would say a healthy prediction would be to see this thing hit about 25 cents. I don't see a reason why not, especially if it maintains its value proposition and everything goes well for it, its goals. I give it a 9 out of 10, guys. Pretty good overall for this project. All right, guys, let's talk about charts. Let's talk about the price. I know you want to talk about it, so let's get right into it. We've been talking about Neox for the last little while, and Neox definitely ran up significantly, hitting some good levels, and as we speak, it continues to move. This was a good take profit zone, and you know how here on the channel, it's all about risk. As soon as you see a project run, what you got to do is start protecting your gains. And personally speaking, this thing's on a tear to the upside, so taking profits too early or too much profit could definitely reduce your exposure to the asset for the up and coming bull run. So be careful with taking too much profit without any real validation. So let's continue here. Let's see what's going on in the short term here on the daily. Basically, you can see that the momentum is definitely overbought. It's definitely got to that level where, it's definitely risky. Overbought conditions. The MACD is really overextended. EMAs are still facing up. Green histogram bars to the upside. And we're seeing this thing run. Now, what about if we get rejected? What about if we continue? The continuation to the upside is still very viable. The trend is your friend forever, of course, but not until it's not. You have that mentality that the trend is going to be a trend until it's not, right? But forever is a long time. Up to the right, to the green, up, forever, straight up. Those are things that you kind of have to anticipate that it's going to end one day. And the reason why is because the market's going to want to induce some pain. We want individuals that FOMO'd in, that are feeling FOMO at this level, to basically act as exit liquidity, to be able to get their bags and give them to people that are taking profit that got in nice and early. So I know that sounds really negative. I know that sounds really like unfortunate, but it is. This is the way the markets work. Peaks and valleys, you know, ebb and flows. These are the way it works. People taking profit, especially when there's some massive gains. Now, here we are. We talked about it at this level. We're in a nice symmetrical triangle. The daily's not really giving you much TA here, you got to admit. If you look just on the daily, the only thing that can offer you is look below. A lot of this price action is very weak, especially up until about 0.005. So another level to watch out for is right here, okay? And I'm going to put an arrow. I'm going to copy this one over, and I'm going to, let's remove this fib for a second so we can clean this up and we can make more sense. Let's move this here. Let's make a duplicate, and then we'll kind of look at this as a buy the dip opportunity. This will move away for now, and we'll be like, look, ultimately when we covered it was around this zone. We were like, okay, in symmetrical triangle, maybe it's time to take a bit of risk. We got another impulse. Now, could we go in from get another consolidation pattern? Could be possible. Consolidation patterns don't mean like it's going to roll over. It just means that it could be a continuation to the upside. So we look for bull flags, we look for continuation patterns, pennants, and those are patterns that can kind of give you an idea. Look, we're not completely done here. And yes, we might be taking a break for a little while, but it may be another impulsive move. But you can't deny that if you look below and you look at all this price action, there's no supply and demand below. Very, very little supply and demand in this area. So if we do get a rejection, you can expect that the price might come down and backtest the breakout zone at about 0.005. And this is why I am going to put a red box into this area just to highlight the importance of this zone. And I'm going to put it into a red, okay? Now, if we do come up and we come down, we get backtest at the top of the volume gap, we might be able to say maybe as we consolidate here and get a bounce and bounce and bounce, we might be getting into a bull flag scenario, put a stop loss right in underneath this horizontal, right into the volume gap, put a stop loss and accumulate as it bounces here, and then maybe get another continuation. However, if it breaks below this horizontal, the 0.060068 zone, it's likely because the lack of supply and demand below, look at the price action straight up, no consolidation, it means that there is no support below, and it can come down to 0.0051. This is the opportunity. Now, again, no guarantee that it's going to roll over. The only indication that we have here on the daily is that it completely overbought and it's overheated. That's it. Trend is your friend. We could continue. Let's go into lower time frames quick. Let's see what's going on. A bit of a hesitation, very similar to potentially what we had here. We can go for another pennant and then continue to the upside. This pennant could be deeper. It could be bigger. It could come right through the volume gap and kind of do one of these, right? It could do quite a bit, right? So, in fact, what we could do is come down and do one of these for the next little while, and then finally, perhaps start breaking up and go to the upside. Very, very possible. Or we could definitely get another impulsive move and then kind of do one of these right around here, respecting the top of the volume gap that we have here again, and then continuation to the upside. So whatever happens, what you have to do is have your convictions, right? Conviction is, number one, if we're at this level and we're bouncing around, start DCing at the bottom of the range and put a stop loss right below into the volume gap. Because if it breaks below the volume gap down, we could reaccumulate at about 0.005. Are you going to put a stop loss, or are you just going to build a small position so that you can buy the dip harder and DCA and drag your average cost lower as it comes down? Those are all very, very viable options. The question is, how much risk are you willing to take? Now, of course, your position size has a lot to do with the risk. If you get in with a small position and it rolls over, no big deal. You might incur a little bit of a loss, or you might have to hold your bag in a bit of a loss, but you'll DCA lower, drag your average cost. Upon a bounce, you'll be in the green again. Take profit, right? So these are all viable options, but we're really early here yet right now. The 4 hour, no sign of bearishness. Higher highs on the price action, higher highs on the RSI. The MACD still looking good. EMA's still facing up. Green histogram bars are still there. There's no real cross. There's no red histogram bars to the downside. So we're still in a very bullish stance here, guys. So what I would be doing right now is getting into a fresh long is scary. I would not be getting into a fresh long right now. Like I said, I would be waiting for structural support. Wait for a pennant, some sort of chart pattern that we could play. Right now there's nothing to play. You're trying to jump on a moving train, so it's a bit dangerous. However, from a defensive strategy, if you got in here with the rest of us on the channel, we got in a bit late. The entry wasn't the greatest, I'll admit to that, but at least we're in some good profit. We were prepared for a dip if it were to happen, and we were prepared for a continuation up, which definitely did happen. What I would be doing at this point is also waiting for some sort of pattern and putting a stop loss underneath the pattern so that you can secure some of these gains. Okay, because right now you're definitely upon the entry, which I believe we got in right about here, the breakout of this move. You're definitely in some good gains right now. You're up approximately 56%, which is decent. So let's wait for a pattern, put the stop loss under the pattern, and then that way you can secure yourself maybe 30%, give or take. And that way, if it does continue to the upside, you didn't take too much profit. You can take 10% off the table. That's very healthy. Take 10%, walk away with a bit, and then let the rest run if it's going to run. And the stop loss will be there. The triggered stop loss if you're going spot, and a stop loss, regular stop loss if you're going with leverage. And that way it acts like a safety net just in case this thing decides to roll over. But you can see how right now getting into a fresh long is very, very difficult. The 4 hours overbought, the daily is overbought, the MACD is still overextended, even on the 4 hours, the daily, everything. And if you get onto the 1 hour and start looking for entries for a short, you're asking for trouble, because the 1 hour moves are very, very little, and it could be a small little wick and then come back down. So really what you want to stay big picture here and let this thing form a structure if you're going to go short. Right now there is no structure. You're going to have to wait for this to actually make an M pattern, an inverse, some sort of head and shoulders, inverse cup and handle, whatever the case is, with some nice divergence, and then we would entertain a few shorts. But at this current moment, guys, it's likely that this project continues to the upside after some consolidation. All right, guys, thank you for stopping by. If you haven't yet, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord, guys. The Discord's where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.